Thank you very much, colleagues. If I could ask you to take your seats, we'll start in about a minute. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, friends, parties. Welcome to the last day of our meeting. You have been working very hard in contact groups over the last couple of days, and we are here to hear the report out from those contact groups and to try and finalise and close on a few issues this morning. And then we will have one more plenary this afternoon to close on the final issues and to adopt the report of the meeting. While I am talking about the report of the meeting, I would like to let you know that L1, the draft report, is available or is about to be shortly available in English. It is available. It's available in English now on the portal, and languages, the report in languages should be available by lunchtime. So I urge you to take some time to review the draft report. So we will now turn to reporting back on the progress made by the various contact groups. Again, we will do them in the order that they were scheduled. And so the first one we will get a report out on is the informal group on atmospheric monitoring, and that was kindly facilitated by Elaine and Sophia. Can I ask one of you to do the report out? Dominica, Sophia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. The informal group to discuss Decision 36-1, enhancing regional atmospheric monitoring of substances controlled by the Montreal Protocol, met for an hour yesterday afternoon. This provided the opportunity for parties to further reflect on information provided during the plenary. The European Union briefly presented further information regarding additional grant funding to the tune of 4.5 million euros and addressed subsequent concerns raised. Parties also sought clarity from the Ozone Secretariat and the Advisory Committee to the General Trust Fund concerning the scope of work to be undertaken. While parties acknowledged that further information is expected to be provided at the 37th meeting of the parties, they requested the preparation of a strategy detailing the utilization of funds, emphasizing that the information provided ought to be extremely streamlined, providing details regarding specific activities to be undertaken by the various funding windows, how these activities complement each other, and to consider the long-term sustainability of regional atmospheric monitoring. The parties anticipate meaningful discussions on this agenda item at the 37th MOP upon receipt of agreed deliverables. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sophia, for that summary of those informal discussions in relation to agenda item 6. If there are no parties wishing to take the floor, we propose to close this agenda item for this meeting and to consider this issue further at the meeting of parties. I see no objection to that proposal, so this agenda item is now closed. I now turn to my colleague for the next few contact groups. Chantal.
Thank you, Annie, and good morning to everyone. We now turn to the contact group on the TOR replenishment study for a report back. So can I ask either Ralph or Meruza to report? I see Meruza. Maldives, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair, and good morning. We would like to acknowledge the good progress we made yesterday, and we are grateful for the constructive atmosphere in which the discussions took place. We were able to review all the paragraphs, and which marks an important step forward. We believe that additional time would be beneficial. So if you are in a position to allocate more time, we would welcome the opportunity to engage in another round of discussions. Madam Co-Chair, we remain in your capable hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Meruza. Given the amount of time that has elapsed, noting that there possibly we won't be able to make significant progress on this item, what we are proposing from the chair is that agenda item 3 be closed and that the latest version of the CRP be forwarded to the MOP for further consideration. That is the proposal from the chair. Are there any objections from parties? Thank you. Seeing no objections from the floor, this agenda item will be closed, agenda item 3, and we will present the latest CRP for further consideration at MOP. We now move on to agenda item 5, and I'll ask the contact group on feedstocks, Morgan Simpson or Liana from Armenia, the co-facilitators, to report back. Armenia, Liana, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Co-Chair, and good morning, everybody. On behalf of my co-convener and myself, I'm pleased to report to the plenary that the deliberations in the contact group took place in the spirit of cooperation, for which we are very thankful to the participating parties. We succeeded in addressing the operational paragraphs and square bracketing them. In addition to square bracketing the preamble part as well. And unfortunately, the allocated timing wasn't enough to finalize the discussion. We anticipate further meaningful discussions if additional time could be allocated within the margins of this meeting to continue the work of the contact group. Thank you.
Thank you, Armenia, and thank you to all delegations that have participated in the contact group. I note that you have made progress. Given the time left in terms of this meeting, we would propose, even though we would like additional time, that we close this agenda item for now and continue the discussions at MOP 37 to consider the latest version of the draft. So that is the proposal from the chair, that we close agenda item 5 and really dedicate our time to serious and further discussion at MOP 37. Is that acceptable to the meeting? Seeing no objections or requests for the floor, thank you very much. We now close agenda item 5. We move on to agenda item 4D, contact group on halons and fire suppressants. I will ask either Yana from Czechia or Juan Jose from Argentina, and I see Yana is asking for the floor. Czechia, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Co-Chairs, dear delegates. The contact group on halons and fire suppressant met yesterday for the second time here in this meeting, and actually we discussed basically the content of the paragraph 4 mainly. The delegates were considering whether to include providing information on the development of alternatives to or either Halon 1301 or either controlled substances, which actually is the bracketed text right now. The discussions were ongoing. There were many questions posed by the delegates and actually answered. Nevertheless, we will need some more time for consideration of this paragraph and also of the paragraph number 3, which contains still some bracketed text. Nevertheless, in general, I would just say that the meeting was really very progressive and we managed to do a lot of progress, and there are only minor remaining issues which will be needed to be discussed further before or during the mob meeting. Yeah, maybe rather when I see you smiling. With that, I would even add one more issue that the draft decision, the CRP was accompanied also with the annex, and about this annex, Australia would like to inform you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jana. Australia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Co-Chair, and I thank the convener for her summary of the work of the contact group and for the participants in the contact group for their constructive engagement. I would just like to discuss briefly or mention briefly the annex to the CRP. The annex to the CRP is intended for information of parties ahead of the upcoming ICAO General Assembly, which is in September and will obviously precede the MOP. So what I'd like to propose is that in order to make that information more readily available to parties, if it is agreeable, is to append that to the as an annex to the report of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Australia, and we take note of the request to have the document appended to as an annex. So in consideration of the time, again, I wish to thank all of the delegations who participated in the contact group. The proposal from the chair, Jana was reading my mind, or seeing a trend, is that we close this agenda item 4D, because we're thinking, again, in terms of the pace and the time constraints with the meeting, that it may be more suitable for us to address it at the MOP where we have more time to be able to finish. So the proposal from the chair is that we close agenda item 4D and forward the latest version of the draft decision to MOP 37 for further consideration. That is the proposal from the chair. Is that acceptable to parties? Seeing no request for the floor, thank you. And we can consider agenda item 4D closed at OEWG47. And I hand over to my co-chair, Annie.
Thank you very much, Chantel. We turn now to agenda item 10, which was other matters, and the consideration of CRP1 in the contact group on regional initiatives to support implementation of the Kigali Amendment. And I can turn to either Mariska or Camilla. Camilla from Vanuatu, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. I am reporting this on behalf of my co-convener and myself on the CRP1 draft decision on national and regional initiatives to support the implementation of the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol, submission by Rwanda and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The contact group met for an hour and a half this morning. We have had very constructive discussions, questions and comments as well from the parties. We, however, were not able to finalize the draft text, leaving the operational paragraphs bracketed. We do not need more time at this meeting for another contact group. However, we forward the CRP1 to the 47th meeting of the parties for further discussion and consideration. We would also like to thank the parties for their inputs in the discussion of this CRP. Thank you, Madam Co-Chair.
Thank you very much, Camilla. I'm very glad to hear that there was good progress and the view of the group that consideration of the issues at the MOP would be a good way forward. And I also urge parties to perhaps think about some intersessional consultations on some of the outstanding issues. So my thanks very much to the contact group and Mariska and Camilla in particular for their hard work in convening that group. I do propose we close this agenda item now, agenda item 10, and take up the issue at the meeting of the parties. Seeing no objection, that is how we are proceeding. Thank you. I now turn to my colleague for one other issue.
Thank you, Annie. We now move to consideration of agenda item 9, classification of the state of Palestine. On this agenda item, parties were encouraged to have further discussions in the margins to discuss clarifications, questions, and share further information. So I now turn the floor to the distinguished delegate of Palestine for an update on the information that was able to be gleaned from the discussions in the margins. Distinguished delegate of Palestine, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. Good morning, everyone. Allow me first to express the sincere appreciation of the State of Palestine to all parties that extended their support to our proposed draft decision following its introduction in the plenary session. In response to the concerns expressed by some parties, which we fully understand and respect, and in line with the co-chair's request, we engaged in constructive discussions with the representatives of the United States, Norway, and Senegal. These discussions addressed issues related to the adoption of the amendments to the Montreal Protocol and the submission of data and information pursuant to Article 5, Paragraph 1. We have taken the opportunity to clarify our views on these matters. We believe everything can be resolved by dialogue. There will be further exchanges of information in the coming weeks on these raised issues, and we look forward to continuing the discussion of the draft decision at the meeting of the parties in Nairobi. By the time of the meeting of the parties, we anticipate having submitted all necessary information and formal assurances ensuring full clarity and alignment with the expectations of all parties. We trust that this will help to address the concerns raised and facilitate the building of consensus among parties in support of the adoption of the draft decision. It is also important to recognize the exceptional and deeply challenging circumstances currently facing the State of Palestine, particularly in the Gaza Strip, which has been enduring unprecedented levels of destruction and humanitarian crisis due to the ongoing war. Despite these immense hardships, we remain steadfast in our commitment to the Montreal Protocol and in upholding our environmental responsibilities. The continued engagement of the State of Palestine under such conditions is a testament to our dedication to multilateral environmental agreements and the shared global interest in protecting the ozone layer. Thank you.
And thank you, distinguished delegate of Palestine, for the efforts you have made to have open dialogue and discussions in the margins as recommended by the chair. And I now look to see if there are any other delegations requesting the floor. And I see that the United States of America is requesting the floor. USA, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. And also just to express appreciation to our colleague from Palestine, specifically with respect to some of the discussions that we have had on an informal basis at this meeting. I think they helped, take an initial step towards clarifying some specific issues. In particular, some of the points we raised in the plenary related to the status of Montreal Protocol amendments and data-related issues with respect to paragraph 1 of Article 5. As he noted, there will be additional discussions moving forward, and we expect some additional information to be forthcoming. I also wanted to say that with respect to the broader issue of Article 5 reclassification, we reiterate our view that China should be removed from the list of Article 5 parties given current economic realities. And finally, just to say, we look forward to further discussion on this agenda item at the meeting of the parties. Thank you, Co-Chair.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of the United States, also for your efforts and discussions in the margins. I now see that China and Senegal are asking for the floor. Distinguished delegate of China, you have the floor.
谢谢主席。我们很高兴看到巴勒斯坦和美方进行了建设性的交流，并取得了一定的进展。我们希望这个问题能在 MOP37上得到更加有益和充分的讨论，在所有缔约方的共同努力下，推动巴方的主张和诉求得到尽早解决。同时，对于美方代表发言中提及的将中方从发展中国家名单中移除的这个主张，我们坚持我们一贯的强烈反对。我们认为这个问题和本身这个巴勒斯坦这个议题无关。中方的发展中国家地位不容置喙。我们希望美方不要将这个问题政治化。谢谢。
Thank you, distinguished delegate from China, for your intervention. And I now give the floor to Senegal. Senegal, you have the floor.
Merci, Madame la coprésidente. Le représentant de la Palestine s'est rapproché du Sénégal, mais ce qu'on a dit hier, c'est que le protocole de Montréal, la Convention de Vienne, c'est avant tout des accords c'est un accord multilatéral environnemental. C'est une réglementation. Ce qu'on a suggéré, c'est que la Palestine se rapproche du secrétariat de l'ozone et on invite le secrétariat de l'ozone à aider la Palestine. Et s'il y a des pays aussi qui sont partants pour assister la Palestine, pour que la Palestine ratifie l'amendement de Londres. Et c'est cette ratification qui pourra lui permettre de demander un appui au fonds multilatéral. C'est ce qu'on a dit en résumé, c'est de faire tout cet effort pour se conformer à l'amendement de Londres et assister la Palestine. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, distinguished delegate of Senegal, as well for your contributions to this discussion. So it's been very encouraging to hear that we've had some very good discussions and dialogue amongst parties to clarify concerns. I note that progress has been made, and that is encouraging. So based on the updates provided by parties, I propose that further discussions will be needed, and that is coming out from from the contributions from parties. And so I propose that the CRP be forwarded in brackets for consideration of this agenda item at MOP 37. So this will be an agenda item at MOP 37. The CRP will be forwarded in brackets. That is the proposal from the chair, and that we close this matter at OEWG 47. So with that, this agenda item is considered closed. Thank you to all parties. And I'll hand over to my co-chair, Annie.
Thank you very much, Chantal. So that concludes the readouts from the contact groups that have been held. I think there has been good progress. We did understand from all of the readouts that there has been a good discussion on all of the CRPs that have been presented. EU, before we finish plenary, I understand you wish to take the floor. EU?
Yeah. Good morning, co-chairs. I fear that I would like to come back to an agenda item 5. We were checking the text as uploaded this morning, and we noted that the text is a bit different from the text we left behind yesterday in the contact group. So we wonder if the Secretariat could explain why the text as uploaded this morning is different from the text that we left behind as parties when we finalized the contact group. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, European Union, for seeking that clarification. Perhaps I could turn to the Secretariat for a clarification on that issue. Thank you very much. Armenia, Aliana, please.
Thank you. Let me explain how it was. When we left the discussions, some of the texts of the operational paragraphs were square bracketed, whereas the rest of them were not, since we didn't manage to get to them yet. And then the distinguished delegate from the US came up saying that if we leave the text like that, there could be an erroneous impression that the text that hasn't been square bracketed has been agreed upon. So that was the rationale behind of square bracketing the whole operational paragraphs.
Thank you very much, Liana. Does that answer the question from the EU?
Thank you. We, of course, understood when we left the room that the text would fully be discussed again, coming back at the MOP. And we, of course, understand that that means we will revisit it. We were a bit surprised that, after the contact group, brackets were added. So we would prefer to go back to the text as agreed, in the full understanding that we will, of course, come back to the topic when we are at the MOP. Thank you very much.
United States?
Thank you very much, Madam Co-Chair. The last intervention that was made by this delegation during the contact group was to note that since some paragraphs were being square bracketed and other paragraphs that had not yet been discussed did not have square brackets, and that therefore that could mislead someone into thinking those paragraphs had been discussed and agreed. With that understanding, our last statement in the contact group was that those paragraphs needed to be square bracketed. We saw recognition from the co-conveners that they understood us. And then as we left the room, we reiterated that point. So to be clear, it was an intervention that we made during the contact group to state, to avoid any misleading information going forward, we wanted to ensure that paragraphs that were not discussed were also square bracketed. Thanks very much, and hopefully that clarifies that outcome, and we're happy to discuss further if necessary, but we do also recognize that the co-chairs have already closed this agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. We tried to close the agenda item. That was definitely what occurred. We will entertain one more intervention on this, and then we will decide a way forward. Canada?
Thank you, Madam Co-Convener, Madam Co-Chair, not just Co-Convener, sorry to try to demote you. Yeah, the last intervention from the US reflects our recollection of the end of that contact group. They did indeed request that other paragraphs be square bracketed just to avoid the perception that they may have been agreed. And even though that was not done physically in the contact group, no one objected to their intervention. So just to say that that's our understanding as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. EU?
We recollect indeed that the discussion was that we would come back to the text as such. We cannot recollect that it was asked to bracket the text. We would have a preference to have rather that than recorded in the meetings of the minutes of the meeting, that we will indeed come back to the whole text, but that we leave the text as was on the screen when we ended the contact group. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. After discussion with the Secretariat and the co-chairs, we propose that the text, the CRP that's on the portal now, be forwarded to the MOP for further discussion, but that a footnote be added to say that the text, some of the text was unable to be discussed, and that's essentially the reason for the square brackets. So it's not agreed or interpreted that that text is agreed text. So that is our proposal, and we thank the various delegates and the convener for providing the clarifications. Thank you very much, and I'm sorry we had to come back to this issue. So, I'm sorry, EU, did you wish to take the floor again? This issue is now finalised. EU?
I apologize, I didn't understand you had shoveled it down. I think you made a proposal. I think for us, if you bracket the text, it means that you basically would like to delete it. I think we would agree that text needs to still be discussed, so I think the footnote, as you added it, should clearly reflect that, you know, these brackets are only there because the text still needs to be further discussed, something like that, but not, yeah, I would prefer that you have one more go at the footnote to be very clear that we don't think that those brackets, yeah, reflect that there is, you know, that the text should not be discussed again or should be deleted, but that is still fully open for discussion.
Thank you, EU. That is well noted. So now we come to the end of this short plenary session. We do have, I think, a couple of agenda items that still need to be discussed. Cuba, I'm about to make a proposal that the issue of LRM and the proposal that had been put forward by Cuba be further discussed in a contact group which would sort of start immediately after the plenary. And then we would also come back to the issue for a short meeting. Sorry, we should come back to the issue of TEEP reorganisation and organise a short contact group for that discussion to perhaps see if there's some more exchanges that can occur on that particular issue. So you can see our proposal on the screen. Cuba, I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much, Cuba. Canada, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Co-Chair. There are just some informal discussions going on with respect to Cuba's proposal, and I mean, if we had like a few more minutes, I think maybe the contact group could be a little bit more fruitful. I don't know if possible to push back maybe those timings by about 15 minutes, but if it's not possible, then that's fine. We'll engage. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm glad to hear there are some informal discussions, and of course we're always willing to facilitate the work of the parties, and if I can ask the Secretariat to just push the meeting back a little bit, that would be helpful. Q8, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Co-Chair. I think there is one of the side event, because the timing of the plenary will be 1:30, and there is some side event will start at 1, so that will clash on some of our colleagues already engaging in that one, so we are in your hand, Madam Co-Chair. The second thing is just to inform you, our colleague here is asking to ask the floor, but he's not pushing he's raising his flag from several times, but I don't know the country. It's DPRK. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Q8. When we are scheduling contact groups, we don't normally take side events into our account, and there are often contact groups that do run over with side events. So I propose that since we have a little work left, that we proceed as we propose and hope that parties can accommodate perhaps both or a priority associated to one or the other of either the contact group or the side event. Thank you very much, colleagues. We were hoping to try and start our plenary at 1:30, but given that some parties have asked for a little bit of extra time for informal consultations, we propose to push the start of plenary back to 2:30, and hopefully this will also facilitate parties being able to, at least in part, think about attending some side events or attending the contact group. So can I get the Secretariat to display the new schedule? Thank you very much. I hope that is agreeable to everyone. Egypt, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Co-Chair, and good morning, everyone. Yeah, I take note of my colleague from Kuwait, yes, and also I'm involved in side event, but we don't need to disturb the agenda. So if the side event can be a little earlier, instead of 1 o'clock, as 12 o'clock or 12. 13, something like that, we can finish the side event before the plenary. Maybe it's helpful, and I don't know if this is agreeable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Egypt. I think I will leave the organisation of the side events to the organisers. I'm not in a position to make suggestions. So thank you very much. We will close this session now. You will see the schedule that has been displayed, and we will come back to plenary at 2:30 this afternoon. Thank you very much. I wish you all good work in your final contact groups, and bon appetit.